my YouTube family, how are you? So just as promised, in today's tutorial I'm going to be covering another CD sun catcher with a dot mandala design. These are the tools and here are the paints that we will use in today's tutorial. So we all have old CDs lying around. This doesn't work on a DVD for whatever reason. The labels don't come off. But if you have some old CDs, just grab some scissors or something that's a little sharp and start an edge, and then you can just use packaging tape and peel the label right off. Now if you want more detailed instruction, check out my last tutorial where I cover this in a little bit more depth. But in this tutorial I just kind of speed through that part. A little tiny bit of the label doesn't come off. Not always. Some CDs come real clear. I'm not sure exactly why. And so for the ones that don't come very clear, those are the ones I opt to paint. So in this tutorial I'm using two different spray paints. Both are a Rust-Oleum brand. One is a satin black paint and the other one is a matte. Now it started sprinkling right when I was spraying the CDs, and I was doing it outside because I didn't want it to smell, you know, up the studio. So I hurried up and brought them in, but the satin one is definitely ruined on the one side, so I'm just going to ignore that side and I'm just going to spray the other sides and see how this goes. This is more or less just an experiment to see the sprays versus the brush on. If you want to see the brush on results, that is also covered in that last CD sun catcher tutorial. So I decided to go with the matte CD. This is the matte one. This is the chalkboard paint. I loved it. I thought it was really nice and smooth. And don't get me wrong, the satin is beautiful, but it did crackle a little bit. I'm not sure why. It did do this before as well to me in the last CD. And then I also show you one that still has the label on. I went on and sprayed over top of the label just to see. You can see the writing that's on the DVD. But you don't really feel a bump or a ridge or anything, so it would work probably just as well if you could kind of plan your dots to go right on top of the writing. That would be pretty fine. So anyway, this is the peeled one, and it's the matte paint. It's the one I'm going to go with. So here are the colors that I decided for today's tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and stick on my 16 slice guideline stencil, and this will just help me keep my lines nice and straight for the pattern that we're going to do today. And you can find these in my Etsy shop, and I will link the shop in this video's description below. So I want to show you, this is how I sharpen my slate chalk pencils. I just take some really coarse 60 grit sandpaper and then just kind of rub and turn as I go, and it gives you a nice pointy edge. That's just a little tip. And so the first color is going to be a neon color. This is a DecoArt Americana color in electric blue. So we're just going to start right on the 8 guidelines that are drawn on, and you're going to use your white tool and just dip to where the tip is covered. You don't really want the paint going all the way up the tool. And go ahead and run the guideline all the way down to the little middle cutout circle there, and you're going to put one on the top and then one directly below it, and then one to each side. So you're going to have 4, and then go ahead and put a dot right in between each of those dots. So we're going to have a total of 8 around the center. And the next color we're going to use is white paint, and I'm using my very smallest nail stylus. Now I call this a size 1. It's just the smallest one that you have. And you're going to put a dot right in the middle on the outer edge of one of the larger bluer dots, and then go ahead and dot all the way down one side, all the way down to the base. Re-dip your tool in the white paint, and then re-dot that first initial dot, and dot all the way down the other side, all the way down to the base. And you just kind of want to hug the curve of the dot, and that'll just make you a nice little petal going on. And the next color is called Royal Fuchsia. This is a DecoArt Americana paint as well. And I'm going to use my size blue tool. And you're just going to be putting a dot right in between each of those little white petal bridges there. So all the way around, you're going to have 8 pink dots. And And then I'm going to use my largest nail stylus. Now I call this a size 5. And we're going to stick with the royal fuchsia paint, and you're going to put a smaller dot right in between each of those larger pink dots. So right on the guideline, just use your guideline, and that will keep your dots nice and straight. Okay, the next color is called Purple Pizzazz. And I'm going to be using my green tool, and again, just kind of get the whole base of the tool covered. You don't want to have any dry spots on the end of the tool, and you're going to stick one on each of the guidelines. We're going back with the white. Now, I am using a gloss enamel paint here, but it was just all that I could find in white, but using a regular Deco Art Americana paint that's matte is perfectly fine as well, because really what it's going to come down to is your varnish. So if you're going to spray it or brush on a varnish that is, you know, matte, everything's going to turn matte. If you use a gloss, everything will be gloss. So they're all going to look the same, so it really doesn't matter too much as far as if you're using enamel paints, or gloss paints, or matte paints. So don't worry too much about that. I did want to touch on too, your tool. It will eventually get a little bit of buildup on there, and if it does, you just want to go on and clean it off with a damp cloth, and then go back in and resume your dotting. That will just keep your dots nice and uniform. And that last row was with the size 2 nail stylus, and this row will just be one size up. So this is what I call a size 3. And we're going to just do 2 rows like we did the first initial row there. And I'm just going to make little petals. And for this design, I just kept it at 2 rows for the petals. And that's how it will look. The next color is called Vivid Violet. It's kind of a mixture between the fuchsia and the purple. It's a nice purpley pink. And go ahead and get your gold tool for this one. And you're going to be putting a dot right in between each of the little white bridges all the way around. And I'm trying to show you too here, if there's a little spot in the middle of the dot that is thinner, just kind of push the paint around with the edge of your tool and it looks perfectly fine. Or you could re-dip it in paint and redot it, and that would be just as well. So I wanted to experiment here. I noticed that this dot was a little closer to one side than the other. So I use a damp cotton swab and just kind of roll the paint away and up and off the CD. And I wanted to see, you know, how the CD fares, and it is perfect. Literally perfect. You could never tell. I definitely suggest spray paint, and I don't even know why I haven't been using this all along for my canvases and everything, because it was perfect. No paint came up with it, stayed nice and black and perfectly clear. Very clean, so I do recommend the spray paint. It's pretty great stuff. Alright, so grab your white tool for the next little step there. We're just going to put a small dot right next to each of the larger pink dots all the way around. One to either side of the guideline. And then this is the size 1 nail stylus, which is the very smallest one that I have. And we're going to just kind of do one swipe down right on the guideline, right in between each of the 2 pink little dots. Now feel free to pause this at any time and catch up. And this is sticking with the size 1. I'm going back with the Vivid Violet, and I'm going to put a swipe right next to the white swipe, going in that same direction. And then right next to those, we're going to go back with the white, same size 1, and just kind of fit in one more to either side of the pink ones. Alright, grab your lime green tool, and we're going to go back with the electric blue paint. Make sure you've got the end nice and coated. And you're going to go ahead and stick one on each of the guidelines, all the way around. And then once you have those, go ahead and grab your blue tool and stick one blue dot right above the vivid violet dots. And then you're going to fill in that area right on either side of that small dot with one more with the same blue tool. So we're going back with the size 1 nail stylus, and we're going to do some more swipes, and these are a little tiny bit different. You're going to go in towards that small blue dot, but then once you get to it, you go around it one way, and then you're going to make a swipe right next to it and kind of go around the other way. Like if you were to cup your hands, it would kind of, you know, like it's holding the little blue dot there in the middle. And then I'm just, you know, eyeballing some dots all the way out to the guideline. So right out from the tip, you're going to just go dot, dot, dot all the way out and over towards that guideline there. And then you're going to do the same with the other side and have it going out towards the other guideline. And then this winds up looking like little petals, like a little flower. And I liked it. I thought this was cute. And hey, listen, perfection is not the goal here. Just go ahead and have a good time. You know, this is something to take your mind off everything else and just kind of relax and zone out. That's what this is all about. For the next step, go ahead and grab the blue tool and go back with your royal fuchsia paint and put one more dot right on the outside of those petals. Now, this part I had to go back in and throw in. I had forgotten to add this part before I drilled. But I just went on and used my largest nail stylus and put some white dots around those large blue dots. But yeah, see, so right here, that wasn't done. I had to go back in and add that. I forgot that that's what I wanted to do there. But anyway, in the final product, you see the dots will be on there. But anyway, you got to make sure that that dries really, really good before you drill holes or flip it to do the other side. And then you just tie some string on it. And I do show you a nice, great knot that will not slip on you in the other CD tutorial. So definitely check out that last video of mine. And this is how it looks. And hey, if you like this tutorial, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber, and don't forget to hit the little bell icon because that's how you'll be notified when I upload. And if you haven't checked out, I do have a giveaway going on right now, so check that out as well. I will see y'all soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now.